Rocky Mountain Sasquatch Organization, bringing you another Bigfoot sighting report. This one is from the beautiful Tony Grove Lake of Utah. The area and surrounding areas are famous for a long history of Bigfoot sightings. This Bigfoot sighting is from a guy whose name is Trace. I have worked with his wife for about 14 years. She told me bits and pieces over the year about his Bigfoot sighting at Tony Grove, Utah. I had to get more details. She was able to get Trace to give me more details about the sighting and his experience. It was the elk hunting season, rifle hunt, in the fall of 1979. Trace, his dad, and hunting buddies like to use Tony Grove as a base camp each year for hunting. Back then, the mountain road to the lake was not paved. It was a rutted, washboard, rugged dirt road. After a day of hunting and a lot of rain, Trace and his dad headed back to the camp after dark. The road was slippery and muddy, horrible conditions to drive in, so they were taking their time going back to the camp. Partway up the windy, muddy road is when the Bigfoot ran across the road in front of them. The Bigfoot was in the full beam of the headlights as it crossed the two-lane muddy road. The creature was covered in dark, brown hair head to toe. Could have been black. The creature did not even turn its head toward them as it crossed and disappeared into the forest. They said it was thicker and larger than any man. No height estimate was given. Trace's dad did not want to discuss what they both had just saw. He even blurted out, "What the hell is that?" as it crossed the road. That is the only statement he has ever made about what they saw that night. Trace and his dad are very serious big game hunters, and neither had ever saw anything like this before. Trace is still a big game guide for hunting in Utah, even to this day. Trace knows his animals and knows his way around the forests and mountains of Utah. He believes that was a Bigfoot that crossed in front of their truck that rainy night. After this Bigfoot sighting, Trace and his dad were not comfortable camping at Tony Grove any longer. They moved their base camp 20 to 30 miles southeast to what is now another Bigfoot sighting hotspot in Utah, Monte Cristo. It seems moving their base camp did not end their Bigfoot problem. A couple of years later, during the elk hunt again, someone in their camp got an elk. They field dressed it and had it hanging in a tree at the edge of camp. That very same night, a creature stalked their camp. The scariest noises they had ever heard. It scared the entire hunting party. It screeched, it growled, it grunted, and it howled, all the while stomping around their camp that night. They all thought it was a bear, until some of them saw it run past camp, and they saw the man-like silhouette of a creature running on two legs. It busted through a barbed wire fence as it ran. They said the vocalizations were as if it was pissed off over their field-dressed elk or something. The next morning, they packed up camp. They ended up relocating base camp several miles away. Even after relocating, several in the camp, including Trace, think the creature was stalking about the new campsite at night. The team of RMSO has been camping at Tony Grove over many, many years because of the Bigfoot sightings in the surrounding areas. Tony Grove stays very cool. As a matter of fact, the very next canyon over that you can hike from Tony Grove has the coldest temperatures in the wintertime and in the summertime. And we believe that's the reason why this area and the surrounding area is a Bigfoot sighting hotspot, especially during the summertime. A large hairy creature wanting to escape the heat. Tony Grove and the surrounding canyons on this mountaintop between Monte Cristo and Bear Lake is a perfect area to escape the heat. A lot of people like to come and camp and kayak up here during the summertime because it's so much cooler than the surrounding areas. Why wouldn't Bigfoot? And it's not actually a canyon, it's a bowl. This bowl that you can hike to from Tony's Grove records the coldest temperature in Utah in the wintertime and is generally the coolest area in the state of Utah during the wintertime. And so we'd like to keep an eye on this area because we think we may get lucky and a Bigfoot trying to escape some of the hot summers in Utah may come to this bowl along with a lot of the wildlife that want to escape the heat. In 2011, I was camping in Tony Grove with Brody and Jenny. Had a lot of crazy vocalizations one morning. There was a lot of bird vocalizations, but there were some primate vocalizations in there, like we were hearing some chimpanzees going off out there. Don't know what it was. I know there's a lot of different birds that can make some crazy sounds, but I've been all over the Rockies, all over Utah, and I've never heard vocalizations quite like this just as the sun was coming up one morning. Don't know if I was hearing Bigfoot or some crazy birds, but never heard anything quite like that, and that motivated us that morning to hike back in and look around to see what we could find in this vocalization area. What we found was kind of weird. We found a ground nest of a bunch of 1-inch saplings that were snapped off. You know, there was no hatchet marks, axe marks, or whatever. I mean, these were broken up, and they were laid out to make like a king-size bed of vegetation, of snap-offs and everything, and it was kind of on an incline. It's obviously some type of a ground nest. Somebody, someone, something had made this, you know, and we were trying to think of the animals that made it, and the list of animals that would have made this was very short. And it didn't look very comfortable to me. In my opinion, the only benefit of this ground nest would be to keep you up off the mud and the water and so forth if it was raining. I mean, not very comfortable, but in my opinion, would keep you dry. You know, if you laid your sleeping bag on top of that and, you know, you had a tarp above you, you know, possibly it would keep you dry.
Hey, it's a beautiful fish.
We plan on keeping an eye on this area because it is a Bigfoot sighting hotspot. I hope you enjoyed this Bigfoot sighting report. It's one of many at the location and in the area. Keep on watching. We're going to keep on squatching.
this where we camped the last time we were here?
Yeah, it is.
That's what I thought.
We heard knocking back up in there.
Yeah, and some crazy vocalizations in the morning, and we also found that
Bedding spot.
that nest, and I probably still have photos of that nest. I'll have to show the viewers that. All right, now that we've showed you the camp area, we're going to go down to the lake and take a look around and see if we can find anything Bigfooty.